AD in the building. My man's coach. Not me?
You don't want to hide the unibrow, though.
Welcome back, you guys, and finally, the Anthony Davis trade stuff is done. It's been pretty annoying having to wait for the inevitable. It's finally over. Anthony Davis is a Laker, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart are Pelicans. But there's been a lot of misconceptions about Anthony Davis, the Lakers, and the general discussion around this trade, so I'm going to talk about all of that and what you need to know. Real quick, let me know this. Do the Lakers need to get a third star, or should they fill out the roster with complementary pieces in case of an injury? Before we get into the on-court fit with the Lakers, we gotta talk about the off-court stuff. I've seen some Pelicans fans and some other NBA fans saying, oh, what changed about Anthony Davis in the last year? He wasn't like this before. Why did he demand a trade this early? Is Rich Paul and LeBron controlling this guy? Why does he want to go to LA so bad? Well, first of all, he's definitely not being controlled. AD is his own man. He wants to be a bigger star in a bigger market, and he's had his eye on this situation for a while. LeBron and Kobe have been close with AD since college and were the first two guys to take him under his wing. I'm not saying this Lakers stuff was years in the making, but check this interview he did when he was a rookie in 2012.
I say Kobe and LeBron, really took me under their wing and showed me the way. I've known LeBron, since I was in high school, senior year in high school. I went to all his camps. College, I went to his camp,
He's been wanting a situation like this where he can be the next global superstar like Kobe and LeBron. Back in November 2018, I tweeted about how the Pelicans were falling out of the playoff race. They were 2-10 on the road at one point, and I was expecting the Anthony Davis Lakers trade request very soon. Somebody replied to me saying, oh, why would AD want to go to the Lakers? I told him that AD fired his old agent and signed with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports because he wasn't getting as popular off the court. He signed with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports for a reason, man. I know people hate the Lakers Photoshop people, but there was way too much here just to write it off as, oh look, LeBron fans are trying to get every superstar on their team. There was a reason Davis had LA and New York as his top two spots. He wants to be more popular off the floor as well. Like for how great he is on the court, it doesn't match up for his popularity off the court. Kyle Kuzma has as many Instagram followers as AD, and he's not even in the same galaxy as a player as AD. I know it's dumb to bring things up like Instagram followers, but Kyle Kuzma would be talked about much differently if he was on the Orlando Magic rather than the LA Lakers. Just being on the Lakers brings you way more popularity and off-the-court stuff that AD did not have in New Orleans. He wants to cash in while he's at his peak, and his sponsorships are lacking compared to other superstars. Right now, from what I'm reading about Anthony Davis, we're at that point where people are forgetting how great this guy is at basketball, just like Kawhi last year when the Raptors made the trade for him. Kawhi was out for most of the year, didn't look that great when he came back, and there were questions if he was ever going to be able to get back to what he was in 2017. Because AD sat out for the second half of this season, I've seen some bad takes lately. People have forgotten how great this guy is. My prediction is that Anthony Davis is going to go on his Y'all Must Have Forgot tour in 2020, just like Kawhi did this season, and show everybody why he's that guy. Those 40-point, 20-rebound games that AD has in New Orleans are going to hit different in LA. What's crazy to me is that I'm seeing all of this stuff about how he's not a first option on offense, but he was second in the league in scoring last year before his minutes were cut due to the Lakers trade stuff and an injury. This dude is amazing in the regular season, and he's amazing in the playoffs, which matters more. There's a difference between 82-game regular season players and 16-game playoff players. Anthony Davis has played 13 playoff games in his career. 9 of those games are against the Golden State Warriors, who have won 3 of the last 5 titles and basically have ran through the Western Conference every year. The Warriors for 5 years now have made a living off of exposing liabilities on defense. They capitalize on every mistake you make, whether that's Draymond taking a big man out of the game because of his speed on the perimeter, or Curry doing Curry stuff with Klay Thompson. They make good players look a lot worse than they actually are, especially centers. Clint Capella, Rudy Gobert, and Kevin Love are all good to really good players. They've had successful careers, but against the Warriors, their skills and strengths become neutralized. Gobert has a hard time guarding Draymond on the perimeter and keeping up with Curry, Capella can get outmuscled in the paint, and Kevin Love is too slow to keep up on defense. But Anthony Davis, that's not a problem for him. Like I said, he's played 9 playoff games against the Warriors, and here are his stats against them. 31 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals in 9 games against the Warriors. Most big men get exposed by Golden State, but Anthony Davis does not. He does the exposing, but the problem is his team was an 8th seed in 2015, and in 2018 he was facing the Warriors with Kevin Durant, so nobody is expecting the Pelicans to do much in either of those series. I still say Dwayne Wade in 2011 was LeBron's best teammate ever, but Anthony Davis might be the most talented teammate he's ever had. I saw some jokes saying that AD is going to be Brook Lopez for LeBron, and he definitely will be spotting up for Bron at times, but this duo is a completely different thing from Chris Bosh and Kevin Love. Chris Bosh and Kevin Love are not the high-flying rim attackers that AD is, and they're not the scorers that AD is from all three levels. Does anybody understand how good you have to be to put up 30 points per game in the playoffs against the Golden State Warriors? And not to mention, AD is a first-team All-NBA defender when he's locked in. The thing that can help big men stay on the floor for a long stretch of time is if you can defend on the perimeter and guard all of those guys that can pull up from 3. Anthony Davis can do those things and drop 30 points. LeBron and Anthony Davis are each other's best pick-and-roll partner they've ever had in their lives. LeBron has dominated in the pick and roll with guys like Anderson Varejao, JJ Hickson, Chris Anderson, Timothy Mozgov, and Tristan Thompson. Those guys have gotten so many easy points when they roll to the rim with LeBron. Just this past season, LeBron was eating in the pick and roll with JaVale McGee, who's a high flyer, but not as creative as a finisher as AD is. I'm already picturing some ridiculous highlights between the two in the pick and roll, and the Lakers offense will probably reach the top 5 in offensive rating after being out of the top 10 this year. LeBron might be the best decision maker I've seen in pick and roll situations, and AD is one of the best role men I've seen in my life. Anthony Davis fits with everybody, but when you have someone like LeBron as your passer, it's going to make it a lot easier for him to get points in the paint.
Like I say again, it'll be the worst move the Lakers ever did in their life, and they'll never win another championship. Guaranteed.
So moving over to the Pelicans side, they definitely got a lot with Lonzo, Ingram, and Josh Hart. They also got more picks than I expected. They got some pick swaps too. I'm not smarter than David Griffin or qualified to be an NBA GM. David Griffin has a plan, obviously, because as I'm making this video, they're trying to shop the number 4 pick they just got from the Lakers. But I feel like the whole point in getting Zion as your number 1 pick is you try to develop him into a top 10 player that can handle the ball like Giannis, and then you surround him with guys that can shoot. They have guys that can defend with Lonzo, Drew, and Ingram, but none of those guys are volume 3-point shooters. Teams aren't selling out to stop a Brandon Ingram 3, they want Ingram taking 3s. Now you add Zion into the mix, who is going to be a non-shooter in his first year. It's just weird. You don't want to put too much pressure on Zion, but you want to experiment with him to go 2 to 3 minutes as a primary ball handler with shooters. You want him to develop that skill as a decision maker in his rookie year so he can be ahead of the curve. One of the biggest criticisms of that Duke team this year was that there was no shooting around Zion and the court was too clogged at times for their offense to flourish. Brandon Ingram still needs to develop his on-ball skills. Drew Holiday is good with the ball. Lonzo doesn't really need the basketball to make an impact, but he doesn't space the floor, so I don't know. Again, I'm not smarter than the Pelicans front office. They got a good haul, but they also need some shooters. I think they'll win more games than they did this year, but priority number 1 should be to find 2-way players that can shoot 3s. This will probably be a really good defensive team real soon. The offense and the mix of non-shooters that like to handle the ball is what I'm worried about at this moment. David Griffin was able to get LeBron shooters when he was the Cavs GM, so I'm sure he'll figure it out. So Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant's injury changes things in a big way. There is finally an opening for multiple teams to picture a scenario where they make the finals. Everyone is talking about it. If you're watching this video, then you've listened or read another piece of basketball content about how KD and Klay's injuries affect the league. Those injuries open it up for the Lakers to walk right into the finals as long as they put the right pieces of shooters and defenders around LeBron and AD. It really doesn't matter to me what the Lakers do after this, if that means getting a third star like Kemba, Kyrie, or Jimmy, or getting complementary pieces to fill out a deep 9-10 man rotation. I'd be cool with either. Just having to deal with LeBron and Anthony Davis attacking the rim for 48 minutes is going to be good enough for the conference finals in my opinion. You saw what the Raptors did with a roster of 6 to 7 guys that can all dribble, shoot, and pass. They only had one real superstar in Kawhi, but his supporting cast was filled with guys that can do stuff with the ball. But if you do get the star, then you're going to have a top 3 offense easily. Kemba Walker right now has a huge opportunity here to finally play with some real stars for once in his life. It's going to be interesting to see what he does, but I don't think Lakers fans should be against a scenario where you get multiple complementary pieces. Like you saw what happened in Cleveland when you have 3 max players, but your other guys are dudes that can't pass or dribble well. Now, of course, things can go bad. Not everything is a best case scenario. I think the AD gets injured stuff is overblown. He gets hurt, Everyone is scared because he's walking back to the locker room, but then he comes back out 5 minutes later and dominates like nothing happened. But AD could get hurt for some time, and that would be bad. Of course, LeBron is still great, but father time hits everyone, and dude is in his 17th year, so he could slow down. Does he need load management like Kawhi did this year, and that hurts the Lakers' regular season standing spot? Does Jason Kidd try to make himself head coach halfway through the year? I seriously can't wait for when the Lakers go on a 3-game losing streak, and we get leaks about how Jason Kidd is concerned about how Frank Vogel is coaching the offense. The Lakers also need to get some defenders around LeBron and Kuzma. Yeah, they're going to drop 120 on teams' head, but they might get 130 dropped on them on some nights. I don't think LeBron's defense was as bad as everyone said it was. Some clips were taken out of context, but he's still in his 17th year, and you need defenders around him. The Lakers' ceiling will be hinged on how good of a defense they put around this team. AD can only do so much as a rim protector. And that's it for me, and what you need to understand about this Anthony Davis trade. He got what he wanted. He is a Los Angeles Laker. I really don't care what the Lakers do from this point on. If they get a star, that's cool. If they fill out the roster with complementary pieces, that's cool too. I'm picking them to win the title either way. Yeah, LeBron's getting older, and we're at the point where we are expecting way too much for him in his 17th year, but I'm going with it. I got the Lakers winning it. AD and LeBron are going to be great. I'm not overthinking it. AD will have to turn into Brook Lopez for some plays, but it's not like he's incapable of doing it. He's a slightly below average 3-point shooter. So let me know this in the comments if you made it to the end. Do the Lakers need to get a third star, or should they fill out the roster with complementary pieces in case of an injury? Appreciate you guys. I'll have some interesting draft videos coming up this week, so stay tuned for that.